So over the course of the Cleveland Cavaliers' last 5 games, something kind of crazy is occurring. And no, it's not that Cleveland has managed to beat the #1 seed in each conference. That's pretty dope and all, but what I'm really talking about is Sam Merrill and the way that he has taken a nosedive in terms of shot making lately. He's been absolutely ice cold and is a relative non-factor at the moment. Now here's the thing, Sam Hoskins Merrill can be an absolute danger to the ops. He has attempted 296 total shots this season, 262 have come from beyond the arc, with 198 of those attempts being of the catch and shoot variety, which he has knocked down 44.4% of. That is his best weapon, and he is as flammable as they come. He's also shooting 40.5% from 3-point range on the season and remains a top 30 sniper in the NBA. Only 10 reserves have knocked down more than Merrill's 106 total triples this season, despite him playing just 772 total minutes this year. He's like that most nights. However, Merrill is registering what I would consider to be the first real slump of his Cavs career. Over his last 5 games, he is shooting 6 of 35 from 3-point distance. That is Pluto level frozen, ladies and gentlemen. The culprit? I'm not totally sure. Is it the scouting report? Maybe, maybe not. The way in which he is being defended now versus the way he was being defended earlier on in the season is definitely a little different, I'll say that. When you take into account when he truly became a rotation regular, which began around December 16, 2023, after the injuries to Evan Mobley and then Darius Garland, you can kind of piece together just how much the level of attention opposing defenses have paid to Merrill has risen from month to month. After all, he was a relatively unknown commodity prior to that point. In the month of December, he made 8 appearances, attempting 47 total threes, caning 46.8%. He was even more effective as a catch and shoot specialist, drilling 52.6% of his 38 attempts in that regard. Something that should definitely be taken into consideration as well is the fact that 38 of Merrill's 47 total attempts were categorized as open or wide open. And if you're unfamiliar, the NBA categorizes a shot open if the closest defender is 4 to 6 feet away, and wide open if the closest defender is 6 or more feet away. Teams had no idea who Merrill was for the most part, so I'm certain he really didn't make the scouting report. In the month of January, a 13-game stretch, Merrill attempted 103 total three-pointers, 71 of which were open or wide open. Again, teams were either failing to add him to the scouting report or felt that he was doing something that was unsustainable. He made 32 of these. That's good for 45.1%. He was even better on catch and shoot attempts at 48.7. He was becoming a problem that defenses were surely going to have no choice but to game plan for, right? Well, not exactly, but through reasons outside of his control. In the month of February, a 10-game stretch, Merrill's minutes as well as his role were in a constant state of flux as Darius Garland and Evan Mobley were worked back into the rotation following their injuries. This often left Merrill as either the odd man out or fighting for minutes when another rotation member was struggling or injured. In January, he saw an average of 22.9 minutes per game and was considered one of the most valuable reserves on the roster due to his ability to provide much needed spacing and movement to a dull and injury-riddled Cavalier offense. In February, his minutes per game average was nearly halved, sitting at 11.9 minutes per game. In January, he appeared in 9 games in which he saw 20 or more minutes of action. In February, conversely, he wouldn't clear the 20-minute mark at all. He went from being a must-play to having a shaky role at best as his appearances were inconsistent. He even garnered 3 DNPs during that span of time. That said, he was still really productive when given those opportunities. He knocked down 44.1% of his 3-point attempts, however 23 of his 34 attempts were still being considered open or wide open. Defenses, for whatever reason, were still leaving this man enough space to pull the trigger.
I saw in Evan Mobley that has continued. He's been incredible for them tonight.
I think Mobley, in many ways,
look forward to it. Here's Merrill, the 3. He can do that.
Now, you would think that the teams would have learned by now, but hey, I'm no scout, and I can't give the ops all the credit here. Some of this is purely due to the fact that Merrill was otherworldly good at using off-ball screens to free himself up. He is also incredibly skilled at the use of the shot fake to throw his defender off balance once they've navigated the screen.
Put the ball in someone's hands like that. That's a value add.
Merrill ties it up. He has been something else.
JB Bickerstaff and company have also been really good at using both flare and stagger screens to get him good looks as well. Dean Wade, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, and even George Niang can typically be seen setting him up.
The Jazz in this game here in this first half. Merrill, does he have another? Oh my goodness, Sam Merrill.
So technically, he kind of had a good February as well. His role wasn't consistent, but at least he was still making the most of it and making the defense pay for not defending him. He just didn't get the same level of opportunities. And then the month of March began, and it has not necessarily been kind to him. In 7 games this month, Merrill has completed just 29.8% of his triples. He's getting more opportunities with the likes of Donovan Mitchell, Max Strus, Evan Mobley, and most recently Dean Wade being sidelined. He's just not experiencing the same level of success this time around. The defense is definitely making life tougher on him, but not so much that he hasn't been getting looks. 43 of his 57 total 3-point attempts this month have been deemed open or wide open. 43 of those 57 have also been of the catch and shoot variety. Whether he's creating space for himself or he's being set up, he has had a decent level of makeable attempts. He's just gone ice cold. And you can't even really blame the absence of a player like Donovan Mitchell, who Merrill has definitely established a good chemistry with. Nor can you blame the shot profile. Merrill's preferred shot is the above the break triple. He's taken 209 of those on the season, and when you break it down month by month, he's still attempting them more than any other type of shot. In December, he attempted 40, making a superb 42.5%. In the month of January, he took 81, splashing 39.5%. He followed that up by taking 29 in February, completing 51.7%, and now through 7 games in March, he's attempted 43 and managed to make just 34.9% of them. In comparison, he's only attempted 23 shots from the right corner and 29 from the left all season long. Merrill is taking these same types of looks he always has. His shot is just off right now. But with that being the case, Merrill is still generating a ton of gravity by virtue of his movement on the court alone. Teams still fear him. They are still chasing him around those screens most of the time, and this does open up things. And to his credit, it seems the Utah State product has leaned into playmaking a bit more as of late, as he has started to leverage the gravity he generates, especially when an opponent is closing out, to find the open man. In January, he doled out 2.4 assists per game. That number dipped as expected in the month of February to 1.4 and is now back up to 1.9 in the month of March. He has started to realize when his shot isn't falling or he doesn't have a good look and move the ball, which is the right call and yet another reason why the movement he generates has been an important factor this season. Merrill has also been a much better defender than fans may think, as he has held his individual matchups to a combined 39.7% from the floor, including a frigid 28.9% from 3-point distance. And while he isn't a world-class defender like Evan Mobley or an elite perimeter or point of attack defender like Isaac Okoro, Merrill has really impressed me with his ability to stay attached at the hip, as well as the toughness that he has displayed time and time again, which is particularly evident based upon the number of charges he's drawn this season alone, which is 11 if you didn't know. Overall, Sam Merrill is going through something that all great shooters experience at some point. He's in a slump. It happens. Moral of the story, just keep shooting that damn ball. Don't lose confidence. Here's to hoping he busts the slump sometime soon. Go Cavs.